Hello friends, and welcome once again to the Gesundheit Kitchen, which is more of a state of mind and less of an actual place. Sometimes we're in a kitchen or a friend's kitchen, or sometimes we're outdoors. But I wanted to focus today on breakfast, because breakfast, being the first meal of the day, is often said to be the most important meal of the day. And when you have GI issues, partial gastrectomy, total gastrectomy, sometimes it's hard to find ways to kind of fuel up. And so I look at breakfast, really any meal, every ingredient is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to kind of sneak in protein, calories if you're trying to gain weight, as I am. And there's this sort of myth or misconception that protein is meat. And yes, there is protein in meat, but I like to think of it almost being padlocked. And when you have a stomach and you have stomach acid, then you have the key or the combination to that lock to get that protein out. But lacking stomach acid, eating meat is not necessarily taboo, but it's hard for me to actually get that protein out. So I'm always looking at ways to get in more protein. So things like millet, sorghum, quinoa, amaranth, spelt, brown rice even, those are great ways to sneak in protein. So these are, let's say they're yesterday's pancakes, but the great thing about the dish that I'm making, it uses broken, torn up pancakes. In fact, what it's called is Kaiserschmarrn, and Kaiser being the emperor, it literally translates into like the emperor's nonsense or the emperor's folly. So I had a dry nonstick skillet, I use these green pans, where I was toasting some pecans. And now I am going to add a little bit of butter to this now that I've got the pecans kind of nice and toasted. And you can use coconut oil, but that's up to you. You customize this the way you want. And that's the great thing about the emperor's folly. I'm making a meat-free version, but if you're okay with meat and you want a little bit of that kind of saltiness, you could put a little bit of one strip of bacon in here first instead of the butter. I'm putting in some apples, and this is an apple that I literally picked from my tree this morning. It's an heirloom variety, so it's a little bit ugly, but it has that kind of Granny Smith flavor, a little tart, and it stays nice and crispy when you cook it. I'm going to go in with some golden raisins, and then whatever spice you like. Now this is a spice blend that I make called Sugar Baby. A little bit of raw sugar in there, and again, watch your glycemic index. You know what you can tolerate. But there's ginger, cardamom, and cinnamon in there, and those spices do really well with all of these flavors together. So with the apples, with raisins, it's going to go great. Now I'm going to put a little bit more of this cooked millet, because again, I want to sneak in a little more protein. I have it. And then lastly, you could say it's my favorite fruit, although technically it's not a fruit, it's a flower, and that's a fig. And I have a fig tree. I have several fig trees, and they're ripe right now. And I found that a lot of people really don't know what to do with a fig, and I've had people say that they think that they're poisonous until you cook them, or I had one person say, well, how do you get the big seed out? Figs are just, if you look at them, they're just basically almost like honey bombs. And I'm just going to rough chop these. These are fairly ripe, so I'm putting these towards the end. Now, if they were underripe, I would have put them in early with the apples. But just rough chopping these and putting them in here is almost like adding a scoop of jam to this equation. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, and we'll plate this up. And this is easily enough for 2 or 3 people. And the fun thing is, this also could make a nice dessert. So this is a great breakfast option, but if you have these things at your disposal and you want to make it a dessert, that would work just as well. Oh, and then for that last little bit, don't reach for your high fructose corn syrup. Just if you need a little more sweet, I would taste it first, but just a tiny drizzle of good local honey is never a bad thing. And then we'll put our fresh mint in there. And man, from a nutrition standpoint, this is everything you need. You have that amazing protein from all the 7-grain pancakes, the nuts, the millet, the extra millet that's in the batter. So this is the kind of thing that gives you energy. So think out of the box. In this case, quite literally with the homemade pancakes. Think out of the box in a different way to put these things together. But you know your body. Listen to your body on what works best for you. Until next time, enjoy yourself in the kitchen. And if you have any questions or ideas, please feel free to submit them. Take care.